Roll call of the City Council for the meeting of Wednesday, March 6, 2013. Mr. Winarski, Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Mr. Rankunso, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon. All please rise for a moment of silent meditation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
We ask this morning that we remember all those that are less fortunate than we are, those who have lost loved ones in our community. In our meditation, let's remember our youth and work to help them in every way possible. We also ask our God and Creator to give us wisdom to be able to make the best decisions for the citizens of the city of Erie.
Mr. President, I'd like to offer condolences to the Page family, the young man who was subject to a homicide this past week. He played in the Summer League, very good young man. He volunteered in the Summer League as well after playing. It was a tragedy, and we ask the blessings to his family.
Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A motion to accept the minutes of the February 20th meeting and the bills for payment on March 8th and March 15th. Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Mr. Rankunso, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Winarski. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Do we have any requests today for repository sales? Any requests for a repository sale? Hearing none. Brings us to citizens to be heard. Mr. McDonald, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Council.
Morning.
My name is McDonald. My property is 19th and Reed. First thing I want to send out our sympathy for, mine anyway, for Judge LaFavor. They just buried him yesterday, I guess. I don't know the man was still living. He was one of the fairest white men I ever encountered in my life. Back down the road, I was having problems with the code enforcement. I could go to him and he'd settle that. We ain't had nobody since then. I'll miss him. I didn't know he was still living. Had I known, I'd have went to see him. He was a fine man. He was a fine man, Judge LaFavor. He's the senior, not the junior. But we want to pray for his family. I went to view him, and there were quite a few people that, a lot of people thought a lot of him, and he was well deserving of it. I have some issues, a lot of them. I could burn your ears out with them, but you could care less, I'm sure. In time, you'll think about them, though. I promise you that. I'm looking at the paper. I see that they done bought that church over there for those foreigners. But y'all ain't got no money for those sinners. But I make you a promise, if there's a God up there, you will regret it. You'll regret it. And I don't understand why you got money for everybody. And here's some people's coming in here. They haven't even lifted a grain of dirt, paid no taxes. They was probably satisfied where they were. But somebody's padding their pockets. It ain't no love. You don't love us over here. How you gonna love somebody you don't know nothing about? You know I'm telling you the truth. It's all about the dollar. You can't take one damn cent with you when you leave here. Not one. You're gonna regret it. one of these days you'll probably wish you were dead for some of the things that you did to our children, what you did to us. I don't know nothing you did for us since any of you been up there. You're busy trying to bring tourists in. You got to clean the house before you bring your company in. What's wrong that you don't want to do nothing for those centers? You ain't doing nothing for me. Hell, you took my money and you're still taking it. We got to pay taxes. Those houses you built over there on Parade Street, that place will be flooded with foreigners. They got a garage. They got air conditioning. Hell, we don't have that, but we're giving it to somebody else. You're going about things wrong. You should ask the people what they want. You should ask the people what you should do. You're not up there for the people. Them congressmen down there, they ain't down there for the people. They're down there for big business, and you are too. You are too. But I promise you, God will get your attention. You think he won't get your attention? You think he forgot about you. God won't forget you. The mayor, I don't know. I'm hearing that that boy that got killed, he's not cooperating. Now, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, forgive me. But I guess, how you gonna know anything about somebody if you don't get out there and see what they doing every once in a while? I ain't never heard nobody tell me they seen him out there. Or none of you all. You know?
Mr. McAdory, excuse me, your 5 minutes is up, sir.
Give me another minute. Jesus, I need an hour.
I got to be
Anyway,
fair. I know there's not a full crowd, but I got to, next week could be, and they'll say, 2 weeks ago, you gave somebody else 8 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 minutes and 30 seconds.
Why are you running your mouth? You could have let me finish. What I'm saying is important. Now, what you're saying is probably important to you, but one of these days, what I'm telling you, it's going to ring in your head. But all hell going to be broken loose then. I'm trying to tell y'all before it break loose, but you don't even want to hear me. Mr. Jones knows it's going to break loose. Spoon knows it's going to break loose eventually. Y'all better pay a little bit more attention to
Thank you,
what's
sir.
going on. I thank you for your time.
Any other citizens to be heard this morning? Any other citizens to be heard? Hearing none, Mr. Clem.
Okay, ordinances for final passage. Council file ordinance 15,831, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $1,013.74 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof. A contribution is from the Hussar Club for the purchase of a water rescue mannequin and ice rescue pole system for the Bureau of Fire. Motion, Mr. Mursky, second by Mr. Brennan. Council file ordinance bill number 15,831, now known as official file ordinance 10, 2013, be finally passed by City Council. Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Mr. Rancuso, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Winarski. Council final ordinance 15,832, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $68,103.50 from unappropriated and anticipated revenue to provide for the expenditure thereof for construction monitoring services for the Norman Way Bridge Replacement Project. Motion of Mr. Mursky, seconded by Mr. Brennan. Council file ordinance number 15,832, now known as official file ordinance 11, 2013, be finally passed by City Council. Mr. Brennan, Mrs. Evans, or Mr. Evans, Mrs. Rancuso, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Winarski. Council file ordinance 15,833, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $947,489.93 from unappropriated anticipated revenue to provide for the expenditure thereof for the construction of the Norman Way Bridge Replacement Project. All this money is, most of this money is coming from the PennDOT grant. Motion, Mr. Mursky, second by Mr. Brennan. The council file ordinance number 15,833, now known as official file ordinance 12, 2013, be finally passed by City Council. Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Mrs. Rancuso, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Winarski. The next resolution.
Mr. President,
Yes.
like to move the balance of the agenda.
I'll second.
We
have a second? Any separations?
Please note that Cathedral Prep will be here next month. They couldn't make it today. Okay. Other than that,
Any separations? Hearing none. Committee reports, James?
roll
Oh,
call.
roll call, I'm sorry.
Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Mr. Rancuso, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon, Mr. Winarski.
I can't pay.
Now we go. Committee report.
Good to pay now, right, Jim?
Mr. Brennan, committee reports.
Just two minor items here. I attended the Bayside Erie Task Force. They had a neighborhood meeting on Monday night. Incredible turnout for the meeting, about 50 or 60 people there. But I was honored that so many people were involved in the neighborhood group there, and they've invested a lot of time into improving, and there's a lot of great things happening there. Also, just a minor item here, the Erie Zoo opened just this past Friday for its 2013 season. In other zoo news, they're going to be renovating their polar bear and tiger exhibit this summer. They actually planned to do it a couple of years ago because of funding they didn't get a chance to. But I always want to commend the zoo for doing what they can. They really do a lot with the limited dollars they have. There's a lot of talented people at the zoo. We should be proud of what they do for us and as a true asset to the community. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brennan. Mr. Evans.
Just a couple quick things. The Housing Authority has completed a survey of all their residences they do every year, and this year in particular, they paid attention to the issue of smoking in their facilities, and got a lot of feedback, both plus and minus, from their residents, but they're currently evaluating how to best deal with, on one hand, resident preferences to permit smoking in certain areas, and yet on the other hand, to try and provide a substantial amount of smoke-free space for residents. So that's an issue that I think we'll hear more about in the future. The other thing is that in 2013, the Housing Authority celebrates its 75th anniversary. It was founded in 1938. So they have a number of activities planned to celebrate the 75th anniversary, one of which is centered around the opening of the new dental clinic. So if you happen to see a notice in the paper or whatever about when that clinic's going to have its grand opening, I encourage everybody to go, because it's a real nice addition to their program for all the residents of all their facilities, is to have a dental clinic available. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Mr. Witherspoon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to congratulate the Erie Housing Authority for coming in first place for the second year in a row at John F. Kennedy's Black History program. John Horan did some illegal recruiting. He went to Edinburgh and got professors who teach Black history, and he reminds me at least once a week that, quote, "See, white man know more about your history than you do," unquote. John and I are very good friends, and we came in third, but they did a good job. But I must say that last year, the first year, they won because they were Googling at the table. They cheated his way there. This year, he did the illegal recruiting, so I'm not sure what John's going to do next year. But congratulations to them. It was very good, and we anticipate to have a larger crowd next year. John has made that commitment, and when John makes a commitment, it becomes a reality. I want to congratulate the Erie Police Department for seeking out the perpetrator on the Perry Page murder as quickly as they did. But I also need to congratulate the citizens that assisted the police in identifying and finding this person. And this is what we need. We have to cooperate with the police when they knock on your door, and if you know something, you have to participate, you have to share, because if you don't, and someone goes free, it could be your son, your daughter, or you that's killed the next time. So we need to work with the police department and solve some of the crimes. If you know who did it, if you have an idea, you can call in. It could be anonymous, but we need to clean our streets up. The crime is running rapid, and I know for a fact, if you think the police department did something wrong, you don't hesitate to call. So call when you can help them solve a crime. I don't know the answer. It bugs me every day that there's another shooting, there's a stabbing, there's a murder, and I don't have the answer. I just don't. But I'm not going to stop trying to find an answer. But we need you, the citizens of Erie, those who are in the know, join the force, provide the information if you have information. You cannot be afraid to come out your own house. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Witherspoon. Ms. Kunzel, you do all right?
Yep. Thank you, Mr. President. I had a couple of things to update everyone on. But first, I wanted to congratulate the administration and the police department for the contract negotiation settlement that you all were able to reach without arbitration. That's really quite impressive, since in the last, 30 years or whatever, they've always gone to binding arbitration. So I'd like to congratulate both the administration and the police union for coming to those concessions, I'm sure, and making some settlement on both sides to make that happen for the citizens. That certainly does save costs that would have been incurred if arbitration would have been entered into, and also time in waiting for that contract to be settled. So just like to congratulate you. A couple of things going on. The Water Reserve Investment Committee will be meeting in the next week or so to review the performance of our fund. That fund is used to fund some capital improvements, to raise money to fund some capital improvements for the city. In the past, we've been able to bring some about approximately 300,000 annually over to the city for capital budget needs, things like police cars, things like that we need for our equipment and things of that nature for the city. So we'll be meeting shortly to review the performance of our fund. Also, the Erie Area COG, as I talk about that, I'm the chairwoman of the COG the last year and this year as well, and the COG has been nominated by for the Governor's Award in Excellence in IT. And I think it's kind of a big deal to be nominated for that award, and part of it is the reason is because of the SharePoint site that they facilitate and host for numbers of authorities and different groups to be able to share documents and work together. We ourselves at City Council are the first government body to start an actual government, not an authority or an offshoot of a government entity that is using this site as well. So that's pretty exciting. In April, they'll announce whether they'll win this award and go to Harrisburg and receive it from the Governor, Tom Corbett. And also, they've recently received notice that they are going to be recipients of over $150,000 in grants from the Erie County Gaming Authority, because part of the desires of the Gaming Authority is to give grant funds to multi-municipal cooperation projects, and because of the many things that COG is doing with its 11-member governments, they were recipient of a number of grants from there as well. So we actually meet today on the COG, and we'll get more details and keep moving forward and trying to look for ways that the governments can work together in the near future, and we will certainly continue to strive for these grants and also the awards. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mursky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few things. I attended a few neighborhood watch meetings, been making the rounds. Southeast Hills Neighborhood Watch was on Monday, and we met with them. We're still working on creative ways to handle the situation with the college rental units. I spoke with some of the residents of Palace Hardware Building downtown, and they have some concerns about some of the traffic downtown and some of the people, homeless people, vagrants, and that type of thing. And I assure them that the city is working hard to deal with those issues in a manner that satisfies both the downtown area and the residents and workers and commuters that live and work downtown. And I happened to stop in, I was there for another meeting at the Bayfront East Side Task Force Neighborhood Watch, and just to reiterate what Councilman Brennan said, what a phenomenal group of people, very large turnout there, and you could just sense the community, and so congratulations to them on that. Just a few other things, it's that time of year, potholes are gonna start coming up, so if you have any potholes, you can call 870-1340, 870-1340, or contact any of your favorite council people, and we'll pass that information on. And finally, St. Patrick's Day will be between now and our next meeting, so as you celebrate St. Patrick's Day, please be safe, be responsible, and enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mirsky. Mr. Jones.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Also like to join and agree with Councilwoman Kunso, and congratulations for this contract without having to go to arbitration. I remember getting on council, being elected to council, and that was one of the first things they said, this is one of the most arduous things that you are ever going to hear about or the administration has to do. And so from that 8 years later, now we're doing something that I think is, 30 years or some extremely long time, almost my whole lifetime, without having to go through. I'm just saying. I'm a little younger than you, Mr. President, just a little bit. But so again, that's a great testament to the willingness to work together and to do what's necessary for the majority of our community, and everyone giving and taking. That's what the heart of it is all about. So I did want to just kind of echo her comments. Also, I want to send out a thing. This is more on a personal note. Thank you to the police department, the fire department, the EMTs. About 2 weeks ago, just this past Saturday, my family and I were in a pretty serious car accident on 18th and Cherry, and a woman, accidentally ran a red light, kind of just T-boned us, smashed right into us, totaled the car. My wife and I and 3 of our children were in the car, but we all were able to walk away, and no broken bones or anything like that. So it was really a blessing. But the police officers were there. They were amazing. My 7-year-old was freaking out. 12-year-old was freaking out. All right, I was freaking out. I mean, it was a big deal. And a young man and woman in the ambulance kind of tricked me into getting on the stretcher, because I was trying to be like the father and get everybody, but I think I was actually in shock. I knocked my head off the steering wheel, had a huge welt on my forehead, didn't know it. And the woman asked, "Did you get hit, or did you hit your head?" I said, "No, I'm all right." She said, "Well, you got this large thing on your knot on your head." And so I'm, trying to be like the father, help everybody, get the kids calm. "Okay, Mr. Jones, just sit down right here for a second." Next thing you know, I'm in the ambulance going to the hospital, which is where I probably needed to be at that moment. And so they were amazing. And I just wanted to kind of, in a public way, thank all of them and what they do. I mean, and they were there, amazingly fast. It was a great, as bad of an experience as it was made better by those folks and what they do in our public safety. I appreciate that very much. My family appreciates that. And again, I'll echo, have a safe St. Patrick's Day. The luck of the Irish, I do have some Irish blood in me. I know it doesn't show as much. Why? It's not a joke. But a little bit is a joke. But let's enjoy ourselves. And remember, seriously, responsibility is the key. Fun with responsibility, and everybody can go home safe. And so let's enjoy ourselves and enjoy our community and find a way to bless someone and do something for someone else outside yourself. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Really, the only report I have is to thank the fellow councilmen for their committees they're responsible for, and keep up the good work. With that, Mr. Kwiatkowski.
Quick report. We attended all the pension meetings of the Fire, O&E, the Gag Grid Board, and also the Neighborhood Watch meeting at the Southeast Hills, where Councilman Mirsky and I were there.
Thank you. Ms. Schaft.
Mr. President, may I just follow up on Mr. Mursky's comments about the Palace Hardware Building? One of the mayor's ongoing priorities is keeping the downtown safe. And so there have been a number of initiatives that have been ongoing to that point. And so whether it's a cop walking a beat or the saturation patrol that is downtown, we are well aware of the situation and you know, just want everyone to know that we are addressing it with a number of different plans. However, if there is a situation that we need to know about a particular area, as it's already been mentioned, either let a council person know, let the police department know, call the mayor's office, just, you know, so that we know of a particular area of concern. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, Mr. Clem, I think it's adjournment.
City Council now adjourn at 9:30 a.m. Mr. Winarski, Mr. Brennan, Mr. Evans, Mrs. Rancoon, Mr. Jones, Mr. Mursky, Mr. Witherspoon.